Okay, in the last video, we can see the priorities displayed on the home page. It's now time for us to be able to mark the task as complete from the home page, so we don't have to constantly go in to the task itself, edit it, and then mark it there. We want a checkbox right here, and then have it actually be you working. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Well, first of all, we should be able to add a checkbox in fairly simple. If we go to our list of tasks, here is where we need to add a checkbox. Let's go find BB checkbox, and I'll open that up over there. I don't have this open. I don't have that imported yet. So let's also do that. Okay, so checkbox. Okay, great. Let's start creating this. BB checkbox. Our properties coming in. Okay, so we have data test. Looking at Cypress, what are you expecting? You're looking for completed. So equals completed. Okay. We have a label for this checkbox. Now, I kind of don't. Do I need a label for that? Because we want just something very plain and on its own. Uh, and how are you going to work? You have this span with the label. So I actually don't want the label to be here at all. This might be interesting. We might need to change the label to be an option. So I don't have to put that in. Let's do that right now. So I want this to be an option with a string. And here then I only want to have this span if we have a label. Otherwise, we don't have one. Okay, so we're going to do if props.label.isSum, then give us the label, and we can safely unwrap here. Cannot move out. Oh, right. So we unwrap props.label. So as ref, we don't need a reference here anymore. Then we can unwrap. That should make you happy. And it does. Okay, so now that's only going to display, so we don't need the label anymore. And the other one should still be fine. Okay, then an ID. So we need to give it an ID. Well, we have access to our task, don't we? So we can give it a task.id. That's a number, so we should probably like toString it. Okay, on change, we need a callback to handle this. So let's go ahead and create that. Let's see. We need a callback to handle that specific one. How are we going to do this? We could have a single callback that we are handing to each one, but it's not handing any kind of ID, is it? That might be another change that we have to make here, is it has to hand back the ID in the callback. Okay, so let's function data table. I probably want a single callback. So let completed, I guess this is on change, right? Change equals, I'll just do a callback from here. You're going to be our event, which we want you to be the ID, which is going to be a U32. No, it's going to have to be a string. And then we can just glue console log it. Okay, so completed task with the ID. Now I want to take this completed on change, and we want to hand it to table data. Okay, so completed on change. So completed change is going to be a callback. You're going to have to take in a string for that ID. And then we're going to pass you in here. Now you're going to be upset because you don't really do that. On change is a callback that takes in a Boolean. I mean, I could create an unknown number of these, but I don't really like to do that. So I kind of need like a Boolean, but then like which one it is. So I almost need, we have the ID, we have the change. I almost need a new struct in here to handle this. So pub struct, this is going to be our on change data. So you're going to have to be, is it selected, which is a Boolean, and then we're going to have the ID, which is a string. Also, to be in here, we need to derive some things. Partial equal and clone. And now this will be an on change data. And so when you do yours, change data, we're just doing this value, which is a Boolean right now. So now this is going to be an on change data. Selected is the value, and the ID is, I guess we'll just have this be the ID, which means we need to pull in the ID equals props.id. I guess we'll also toOwn. I don't think toOwned is right here. I think toString is more appropriate because it is a number. Okay, we're gonna move in the ID into here. Okay, the value is coming in here, there. The props on change comes in. Why are you upset? Oh, it moves the variable ID out of the environment. Well, that's kind of fine, isn't it? I want you to move in. Let ID equals, and then we're going to take the ID from the props. Do I need to clone it before I string it? I sort of thought I would because it's a number. Oh, no, it's not a number. It's a string. Okay, so I just need to clone it, not to string it. There we go. props.id.clone. Oh, you're still unhappy. Is it because I'm not passing it in yet? Data test. Okay, so ID, task ID. You are definitely a U32. ToString should make that converts to, okay, to an actual string. Okay, that works there. On change though. Okay, we have you, and then checked is Boolean or not. So then we have a checked equals. Do we know? I think we do. So we can do a function is completed. It's going to take in a reference to a task. Yeah, a reference to a task. We are going to return, and actually this doesn't need to be a reference to the full task, does it? This just needs to be task completed at, which is a stir. We're going to return a Boolean. Okay, so, this is also an option stir, isn't it? It's an option string. Well, wait a second. I don't even need that. I remember now. We can just check to see if this is a sum or a none. So checked is going to be a task dot is sum. No, check dot completed at is sum. Okay, completed on change. You're upset because you're you're the wrong type now. So if you come back to here, completed on change, you think that you're a string now, but you're really this on change data. Now, of course, you're upset. Let's see. This is now data. I want data.id. You're not publicly available. That'll make me be able to access it. Okay. Completed on change. Mismatch types expected. A U callback string found on change data. Right, because here, instead of a string, this is on change data. Okay, down to 2 errors. In these 2 files. Okay, so what are you upset about now? You're still upset about this. Let's hold off and do this one first. So now okay, so on change equals completed on change. Completed on change does not take a Boolean anymore. Completed. Okay, so set sum completed dot selected. Type annotations needed. Okay, so you're an on change data. There you go. All right, last error. So we still get this problem. So expected closure that implements fn trait, but this closure only implements fn once. Okay, so the requirement to implement fn derives from here, so line 57. Okay, and the closure is fn once because it moves the variable id out of its environment. So ID is used, I'm not necessarily seeing it used multiple times. So we're doing it inside of this block right here. So I want to clone the ID out of props. ID coming in. Okay, so props is part of the ID. That was kind of what I was hoping to do is clone the ID here, which is what we're doing. Then move that ID into here. There's not like another block inside, I don't think. So why are you upset? I don't want to have to do. I don't need to like clone the ID right here. That seems doesn't seem right. It did like that. Back to tasks. Okay, so completed on change. Now you're upset. Um, has type. Oh, complete on change. So now I do need to clone this. And can I clone this, or am I going to have to create a new callback for every single one? No, that is fine. Okay, so I can do that. So with that being said and done, let's see if this works. Come back to here. Here's all of our completed checkboxes. I want to complete you 462, 481, 482, 483, and then if I go in here, 483, 482, 481, 462. Perfect. That's exactly what we were looking for. Those are the tasks that are those are the IDs of the tasks that we're creating. Okay, so that's all we need to now be able to hit the API and complete this. So let's head over to our API. I can move you into here right now. Okay, so pub, is it async pub function? Yeah, it's pub async function. Pub async function, going to be complete task. So we're going to require a token and a task ID. So task ID is going to be a U32 and we need a token, which is a stir. We're going to return a result with, so do I want to complete or do I want to like do a toggle? I don't know. I'm thinking we don't necessarily need to have any of that as an error, but we're going to use an API error here. Okay, then, so we'll take these things in. Okay, so we don't need to do a new task. We need to start the request. So request equals, okay, request. We need to find out if it's like a post or a put or something else. If we head over to Thunder Client, do we have anything for this? I don't see one here. So let's head into my other VS Code where we're gonna go find, so in integration test, backend API test. We don't need to do a delete anymore. I want, okay, so for task CRUD, create task, get all task, get one task, update task. Should be able to mark a task as completed. We are gonna hit, okay, task ID completed, and then just sort of forward thinking, a uncompleted route is also available to us. And this is a put. So we're going to do a put to this URL. And it looks like we don't need any body. So that's actually simple enough. Let's head back over here. So we're going to do a put to. Okay, so our URL. Format or a reference to a format. Okay, so tasks, then the ID, and then completed. Our base URL, and then we want this task ID. Okay, so that gives us that. We need to set a header of this this thing. Might as well just take that entire header. Okay, let's see what's next. We don't need to set a body on it, so I don't need another one. So I don't need the header for like the content type. I need to, I guess just we're gonna send it now. So gonna send and await. We don't need, okay, so we're gonna unwrap here. Actually, here is I think where we could run into that problem, right? So I want to now at this point in time, and I want to try. Oh, we do unwrap. Okay, so we do one more unwrap, and then we can check to see if it's okay or not. So if the request is okay, then we're gonna do another one. So if request okay. All right, so if it's good, we need to return just okay, and we don't really care. So okay, like that. Otherwise, if it's not okay, we don't know what the error is. Well, okay, if it's one of these. Now, this is exactly what we've done several times. I'm kind of wondering here, what if I try creating a function for like handling the error? So let's do a function handle errors. We are going to take the request status. It's going to be a status, which is a number of some kind, a U16. And we're going to return a, we know that there's an error at this point. So we're going to return a API error. So we're going to match on status. Okay, so if you are a 401, you're going to return this error, API error, not authenticated. Otherwise, for everything else, we're going to return an error, API error, unknown. And so here we can call that oh, I just want to turn the API error, not wrapped in an error. Like that. Okay. That makes you happy. Now here we're going to return error and then call in handle errors with the request.status. Okay. So we have our, okay, we're calling handle errors. Right, that's not going to show, that's going to show that it's not being used yet. But I should be able to now take this and use it in all these other places. And this should be fine now. So we're just going to go ahead and do that really quickly. It makes it a little bit easier. So when I go to add different error types, there's only one match that we need to update. Everything else should be good. Okay. Let's see. Then now we want to run our complete task. Okay, back to our tasks. We have our checkbox. Here's our on change, complete on change. That's being passed in. Okay, so right here, we have the ID as it were. So we do need to get the token out. So we're going to grab that here. Okay, so we're going to use a use states, no, a use store. Tell it what the store type is. Get the state, map, state dot token, clone that, and unwrap or default. Okay. That should make you figure out what that is. Persistent store. It grabs you. You don't know what that is. Usually, it figures out what the token type is. Maybe it will figure it out. Let's see. Store type, option, state we map, state, token to clone. Yeah, it should. Okay. So we're gonna move this in here. We need to do the async block. So that's the web bindgen futures, spawn local, async, and a move. So if we're doing that, we need to grab our token here also. So now we can use it inside of here. Okay. Next up, actually doing the call. So let's do I need to get the response here? Probably not. Although we're gonna have like the error in there. We can also just match on it. That might also work. Okay, so we're gonna have our API. We're gonna have a complete task, pass it in the task ID, which is this data. Oh, let's grab that out. Let task ID equals data dot ID. I want to turn this into a number now. So can I do that? We could do a from maybe on it. And if there's a problem, we want that to error out right away because this should never error, right? If we're trying to turn it into what it is, as long as it's coming from the source that's a U16, it should go back into a U16. So let's try this. U16 from data.id. Then I want this to be a task ID. Because you are looking for a U. Oh, it should be U32. Okay, let's see. Give you a block. Okay, so then a token is token clone in here. We can do a reference to the token. Okay, so we need complete task returns it's async, so we need to await it. And then I don't think we need to. Ooh, Rust Analyzer is very unhappy with us. Okay, U32, it does not know how to do this. I wonder if it can do a like a try from, or we can do like an into or an as. What can we do for this? There's also like a try into. So let's see. Is there a? Oh, there's also like a parse, right? It's been long enough that I've forgotten how to do this. Let's go take a look. How to parse into a string. I think it's gonna be we're just gonna look for parse here, and probably with something like parse 32. Let's see, we have stir parse. This is a function that takes in self, and it's available on. It's available on stir. Okay. Parse. So the way this works, we parse. Okay, we just tell it what the type that we want it to be is. Okay, that's simple enough. So we're gonna take this thing, which is gonna be our data dot id, and we want to parse it. That's a string. So we can get a ref, so as ref, and then parse it. And then I want you to be a U32. Are you going to figure that out automatically? Do I not need the as ref? It's only yelling at me about down here. Okay. Um, missing match arm. Okay. So fill the match arms. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. So this is how we're converting from a string to a U32. So now you are taking in a expected type U32. Found enum task result. Wait a second. What does parse give us? Oh, is that a result? Do I have to unwrap you? Now you're a U32. Okay, so it basically gave us a result just in case it was an error because it couldn't do the parsing. All right, so continue on here. Now we have if we're okay, what do we want to do? Well, this is going to be we want to do um we definitely want to handle that and probably going to mark it complete in Yew.rs. Let's do our error first. So if we get an error, and there's a couple different things we want to do here, right? Because if we get an API error, not authenticated, um, we want to. I mean, we're already back home, aren't we? We probably want to do something about that. Uh, I mean, specifically, it would be great if we could mark, like, remove everything, remove our token, and handle that. Let's it's also we're gonna have error if you're just an error. Okay, so we're gonna do a glue console error. Okay, so we are error completing task, and we'll pass it in error dot to string. Okay. Oh, it's not error like that. Err. Okay, so that makes you happy. Okay, so if we're not authenticated, so if our token is bad for some reason, we probably do want to remove the actually just go ahead and tell the store. And do we have something like this? we need some kind of like log out, which, oh, here it is, log out, which takes a dispatch. So we can do that. So, but of course we need a dispatch first. So let dispatch equals use store dispatch clone you here, then clone you into here. And then we can use, okay, we're going to do a store that store log out. Hand it in dispatch, and we're good to go because at home this is probably fine. Home is gonna be great for logging out. Okay, then that will expose the buttons for logging back in again. Okay, and finally, if we're okay, what do we want to do? Well, we want to take this task ID and tell the store to mark the task as completed. Which, do we have one for that? We have set task, update task by ID. I don't have that one, so let's go ahead and do this. A function mark task completed. We'll take the dispatch, which is a store dispatch, and we'll take the task ID. Do a dispatch reduce. We'll get our store. We do need to do a move for that the ID. Okay, so we need to find the task first. So that task equals store dot tasks. We'll do an iter mute. We'll do a find. Why are you upset? Okay, so we have store task is a vector. So now I want to get a iter mute. We want to find. You're not being helpful here. Okay, expected a semicolon. Sure, why not? Is that going to make you happier? Okay, takes one argument. Here we go. We're going to have a task, and I want to return this if the, okay, so if the task.id is equal to the task ID. Okay, so we found it. Now you're going to be an option task, I believe. Is it because you're not being called? I don't understand. You should still be able to find out what it is from this store. Okay, so we should now. Oh, this is maybe Rest Analyzer is having a little trouble. Let's restart Rest Analyzer. Okay. In the meantime, we found the task. If the task is, because I believe it's an option now. So if task dot is a none, I want to. I just want to panic. Let's do a glue console error first. And we'll just say error finding task to complete it. And then we'll do a panic. That way, it'll be easy for us to find out if this is, wrong or something else. It should never happen. Then, okay, so now we have the task. There we go. Now we're getting our task auto completions here. So we want to do a task. We're going to unwrap that. So unwrap. Then we're going to get the completed at. This is mark it completed. So we want to now set you to be, it literally can be anything, can't it? Like we don't really care what that is. So complete that is going to be a sum. Um, how are we setting the time? I think that was in our API here. So create. Oh, we were doing it in the patch task. Here's where that is. We're getting this date new 0 and then this thing. So I want to borrow you. And you are becoming, okay. So now equals this. You become that. Date is coming from JSys. And okay, so then you are some as string, mismatched types found, and so expected struct string found in EM option option string. Complete that should be an option string, right? So wait. Oh, S string becomes an option string. Oh, okay. It's already an option. Okay. Then I can just do that. Oh, it's so fun doing that. Okay, so this now we can mark the task as completed. So back to tasks. We are now going to do a store. What is it called? Store mark task completed. Hand it dispatch. Hand it this task ID. No errors. Let's see if this works. Head back to here. Okay, we're going to complete this this A task. So click on you. Okay, it worked in there. If I hit refresh, hey, it's still completed. If I completely let's go and log in through the other application, the test app, and it is indeed completed. So we have successfully marked this as completed. Now, if I want to unmark it as completed, this will have to we'll have to sort of like add that in. Also, let's see. That is you. Let's run our Cypress test. Make sure that everything is working still. Because that was a lot of code for us to write without actually testing it. Okay, so next up is going to be sorting type stuff. That being said, though, I like at this. It looks like we don't have any tests for marking as uncompleted right now, and I think we need to complete this. In fact, we're getting an error when we try to complete it when it's already completed. So we want to. Let's see. Can we just fix this really quickly? Enter solution here. We have our data on change. Okay, we have mark. Okay, we do a complete task. I want to now see what that is. So if I just do a glue console log, let's just take a look at what our uh, data dot completed. What is it? It's We have task here. It is, oh, checkbox. Oh, selected. That's what we're gonna get. Okay, selected. So data selected. You should be true and false, right? So if you become true, we want to do this. So if data dot selected, we do that. Otherwise, we want to do something slightly different, right? We want to now uncomplete the task, which should be very similar to this. So we're going to copy you, paste you into here because it's almost the same. We want to uncomplete. Uncomplete task. We're going to also have a mark task uncompleted. Everything else should remain exactly the same though. So we're going to go now fix these errors. So in API, we now need an uncomplete task. So complete task, let's go ahead and copy you. And we'll have uncomplete task. It takes in the same things. The big difference here though is uncompleted is the route we're sending this to. I think everything else is the same. We're gonna find out. And then next up is in the store, we're gonna have mark task uncompleted. So copy you, dates. Okay. Everything should now be happy and passing. Let's see if this works. So now, oh, that didn't work. I got a 401 error. Oh, because I logged in again. So look at this. We have our login buttons. Let's go log in again. Let's try it again. And if I hit refresh, ooh, so now it's incomplete. So if I mark you as completed, uncomplete you, what happened here? We did a put to uncompleted. That worked. Oh, you know what? You know what? Here in mark task uncompleted, I find the task. I don't need to find a date now. I want to set this to be a none. That's my new issue. So I need you to now be a none. Now I think it's going to work. Okay, so we mark you completed, and we can unmark you as completed. All right, so that is now working as expected. Let's go ahead and rerun the Cypress test and see how far we end up getting. All right, so it looks like we're getting to sorting now. So looking at what's coming up, we need to grab some kind of sort, probably like a drop down or something. Select what we're going to sort as, and sort all the tasks on the home page. And then there's going to be a filter afterwards, and then an error message. So we're getting really close to being done. Anyways, this has been a longer one. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully it's been helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.